A very good morning to all. This is Prashant Pandey, and in today's lecture, we will discuss the introduction of Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. In today's lecture, we will discuss the circumstances which were responsible for the enactment of this act and the aims and objectives for which this act was enacted, the purposes which it subserves. So, moving further, in this lecture, we will cover the introduction part and the scope and objects of the act, that is the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. So first we will discuss the introduction. Before moving further, it is essential to discuss here the observation made by the Supreme Court in the case of Messrs. Glaxo Laboratories Limited versus Presiding Officer, Labour Court, in the year 1984. It was observed by the Supreme Court that moving from the days when whims of the employer were supreme, the Industrial Employment Act 1946 took a modest step to compel by statute the employer to prescribe minimum conditions of service subject to which employment is given. So according to Supreme Court, before the enactment of this act, in the industrial relations between employer and the workman, the employers were generally at a superior position. They were at a position to influence the workers and manipulate their circumstances for the profit makings. So this act provides statutory restrictions on the whims of the employer not to take advantages over the workman in their relations with each other. Generally, before the period of 1946, the states adopted the policy of laissez-faire respecting the individual's right to contract and thus followed non-interference in the mutual bargain of the employers and workmen. As we all know, the concept of laissez-faire, which was propounded by the famous jurist Jeremy Bentham, according to him, it is the duty of the state to have a minimum interference in the private matters of the individuals. So by adopting this concept, this principle, the states before 1946 have the tendency to not to interfere in the private matters of the employer and the workman in the matters of employment and other related issues. The employer and the workman used to settle the term of contract of employment on mutual agreed terms and conditions after individual bargain, which may be expressed or implied. The whole employment contract was based basically between the agreements between the employer and employees, that is the workman, and in that situations generally the workers were the inferiors as compared to the employers, and they agreed to give their services on the conditions prescribed by the employer themselves. So in that situation, the conditions of the workmen became very pathetic. But this freedom of contract and settlement of working conditions between the workman and the employer proved to be disadvantageous to the workman for the reason that the workman could not stand up and demand better wages and conditions from the mighty employer for various reasons, including the fear of presence of large number of unemployed youth in the field and consequent loss of job. So due to the prevalent unemployment situations and those where in the employment, they have the fear that by raising their voices against the prevailing circumstances of the working conditions against the employer, they can they can lose their jobs in that consequence. So workmen were basically afraid of the consequences which were going to be happened after raising the voices or after demanding a better working conditions from the employer. The conditions of service were normally ad hoc, which left the workmen to be at the mercy of the employer. The contract which was formed between employer and the employees, workmen, the nature of that employment was basically ad hoc, and employer was at discretion to fire any time the employees, in case they were raising their voices against the pathetic conditions prevailing during the performance of their works. In Balakrishna Pillai versus Anant Engineering Works Private Limited, the Division Bench of Bombay High Court observed that before the Industrial Employment Standing Order Act 1946 was placed on statute book, the conditions of service of the industrial workmen were undefined, arbitrary, and dependent mostly upon the whims and vagaries of the employer. So, after the World War II, the government, which was earlier hitherto practicing the policy of laissez-faire, realized the negative effects of laissez-faire and the resultant burden inconvenience caused to the society at large. So government realized that due to non-interference in the private matters of the employer and employee, it causes negative impact only on the working classes, and by that non-interference, the employers were making huge profits at the cost of lives of the working people. Thus, the government finally realized its responsibility towards the society and intervened in the matters of employers and workmen in regulating the service conditions of the workmen. Now, what is the object behind enacting this act? The object of the above legislation, that is the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act, is to require employers in industrial establishments to define with sufficient precision the conditions of employment under them and to make the said conditions known to the workmen employed by them. So, according to the preamble of this act, it is the responsibility of the employer to provide with precision the conditions of employment under which they will be hiring the workmen, and such conditions should be informed to the workers before hiring for the works within the premises of the industrial establishment. Also, in fact, the legislation is a tool in the hands of trade union to pressurize an employer to define with precision all the conditions of employment. Apart from creating an obligation on the employer. This act objected to provide an instrument to pressurize the employer so that they can think about the better working facilities of the workman, and it provides strengthen to the institutions of trade union so that they can create pressures on the employer, and ultimately the workers affiliated to the concerned trade unions can be benefited. The Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946 is applicable to every industrial establishment where 100 or more workmen are employed or were employed on any day of the preceding 12 months. So, this act will be applicable automatically on those industrial establishments in which on any day of the preceding 12 months 100 or more workmen are either presently employed or were employed by the employer. Apart from that, regarding applicability to establishments not covered above, the appropriate government has the power to extend the applicability to such establishments not covered, but only after giving not less than 2 months' notice by notification in the official gazette. The proviso also provides that in case of the industrial establishments which has not been covered under the general category, that is where 100 or more workmen are employed or were employed, the appropriate government, by giving a notice of not less than 2 months by notification in the official gazette, may apply the provisions of this act on those establishments which are not generally come within the purview of this act. So it may also be applicable on the industrial establishments where 100 or more workmen are not working or were not employed during any day of the preceding 12 months. Thank you so much.